Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Aftermarket Mondays from the Active Trend Traders. Hope you can both see and hear the screen. I think you should be able to. And let's get going. I want to remind everybody that all the materials we do present are for training purposes only. Traders should always paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. Been doing a lot of studying about some of Jesse Livermore and some of his statements and some of the way he traded and all that kind of stuff. I always find it interesting to see how people traded back prior to when we had all, prior to having all the modern, technology ways to trade and all that kind of stuff. And it's just very interesting. Livermore's thing was he wanted to buy right and then sit tight and just let the position grow. The objective of, and hey, just a quick, I haven't got any responses. Everybody can both see and hear the webinar, correct? Yes, thanks, Gary. Okay, the objective of this is to basically provide timely, actionable intel at the beginning of each week. We then close up, we have the bookend session on Friday called Making Money Trading Stocks and ETFs. We do a real quick market review, stocks, ETFs, setting up, what else we're going to focus on. We try to get it all done within 10 minutes, and so we don't let the moss grow under the stone. So have patience, stand back, and respect the rhythm of the market is one thing we want to do. So what I'm looking at for today and setting up for 11th, this should not be the 11th, should be 18th. And so always go back. We can fix that very easily. There we go. On the 18th and beyond, buy the dip, sell into strength. Or do we do both right now? Typically, September is a weak month, traditionally and historically, and it's one of the worst performing months in the of the year for the stock market. But what happens oftentimes in September is it gives us a real nice pullback setups for going into sometime in October, where we get a nice, particularly bounce into the end of the year from October through, sometimes the end of January into the February timeframe. So right now I'm looking for ETF setups. I am focused on Netflix, NVDA, Tesla, CRUS, LGIH, and YY. Those are kind of the stocks I'm focusing on. I have added to the catfish specials. What are the catfish specials? If it's the first time you've been on the session, what they are is these have been high quality growth stocks that have been on the IBD 50 sometime this year, and so they have made it to my running list. I keep a track of every stock that's come up on the IBD 50 for the year, and there's 180 stocks that have made it onto the list this year for 2017. These are stocks that have basically fallen off the IBD 50 list, but they are still maintain fairly good level of good fundamental soundness. And what they're currently doing is they're getting down into levels on longer term charts that make them potential candidates for turning around to rally into the end of the year. We'll take a look at each one of those. And so please remember, there is no holy grail to trading, just only tools and rules. And so let's take a look at what we're looking at. This week is Fed week. I am not in a hurry to get in any long positions watching what's going on with Fed week, simply because while the Fed week has not been as volatile as it has been in past years, with the real wide, big swings, there's, at some point the Fed's in the raise the rate mode. And at some point the market's going to say, you know what, we don't like the raising rates anymore. We're going to, react, negatively. Up to this point, the economy has been doing okay, and we haven't had that negative response yet. So let's take a look at some charts. Let's run through that. I'll be looking at the daily and the weekly chart. Daily here on the left, weekly on the right. And as we see here, we are getting S&P. S&P is getting up close to potential areas where you would expect some kind of a pullback. And what are the clues that are going on that make us say that? Yeah, got a couple of things going on. One is last Friday we had the market forecast showing a bearish cluster. What that is all three of the momentum lines in the upper reversal zone. And it doesn't mean we can't go higher, but it is something saying, okay, this may be a time we don't want to necessarily jump on any, long positions until we get some kind of pullback. What's today's candlestick telling us? Well, one, it's not a shooting star, but it's a spinning top doji at a level, high level of, and the long tail on top tells us that's where the sellers have come in. That's the first time since it broke out above this 2490 level that sellers have really come in in a meaningful way. What might happen? Okay, we're extended away from the 820. Might get a pull back into the 820 for a rebound from there. Or if we get a more significant sell-off, possibly down to the 50, what would that look like? And as far as a dip, if we fell from today, if we fell from today's highs down to the 50, how far would that actually be? Well, to where the 50 would be here, you're only talking about a 1.68% drop. A 3% drop would put us down more closer to the 100-day moving average. And again, we are, continuing to add. We're well past 200 days where we've had a 5% correction on the S&P. S&P still looks primed to, like it may want to go higher. We do have the breakout. Watch that 2490 level. If that support holds, price action may ricochet off that to push higher. And I'll wait until after the Fed on Wednesday reports out, see what we're doing before I move forward on anything with the S&P. Same thing, NASDAQ just kind of went sideways. It has worked out at a resistance at 615. A little bit of minor support at 59.58, and look at the 8 or the 20 and the 50 for potential pullbacks down in that area. The one it's a good surprise is the Russell. Russell's been doing really well, even with interest rates going up. It has pushed back just about up to its past resistance area at the 1450 level, and so it too is looking like it's getting close to a three-line cluster. Matter of fact, it has one right now. And what happened the last time it had a three-line cluster? And this is one of the things to look for. If you're not familiar with the market forecast, which is a tool that's put out by Ameritrade, TD Ameritrade, it's kind of an interesting tool. One is what it is three levels of momentum that's measured a very short time, intermediate term, and a longer term. And when they get up into above the 80 level or below the 20 level, those are called clusters. And typically there's a reversal that takes place shortly after that. As we saw one take off back here in the first part of midsection of July, and if we extend our line don't do that. If we just extend our line straight up from approximately where that is, as you can see, within a few days of hitting that three-line bearish cluster, price action kind of gassed out and then fell from there. This indicator tends to work better at the lower reversals, and so that's why I use it more or less for bullish type trades than bearish trades. Again, it works very well with the True Strength Index and the momentum. Excellent. So those are two of the stocks. Let's take a real quick look at the other things we're looking at. Again, we got a big bid today on NVDA. NVDA jumped up. Unclear at this time whether or not this is is this a breakaway gap or is this an exhaustion gap? Long tail on top is telling us that where the sellers came in. So we know the sellers are coming in on NVDA at around the 90 level, and it is extended. And so before we'd even entertain a long position in NVDA, I want to see a pullback into the moving averages for a pullback trade. Tesla, similar type thing. Tesla has pushed up. It briefly broke out above its all-time high of 386.99, closed back down below that. So we know where the sellers are coming in. They hit the target, sellers came in. If it breaks the low of today, we'll probably push on back down to around the 8 or the 20 for a nice little pullback into a support area. We have this last swing high was down here about 30.58. If it hits that, that's where you can look for a potential bounce also. So somewhere in that range. And let's see. Go real quick. I want to go real quick to Nugget. As you can see, because if the market rolls over a little bit, gold should head up. However, as you can see on a daily chart, it looks like gold Nugget, in this case a 3-time leverage ETF, has a little ways to go before it rebounds and moves back up. Similar thing here and here. So don't, I'm not going to jump in this early. I'm going to wait for my reversal off the TSI for a potential tick up. I want to show everybody one of the items that we have, one of the features that we've been doing on the Active Trend Trader for premium members. Of course, we've been putting out this chart, this table every week, either on Sunday and or Monday, that goes along with the what's on the radar, and it covers the stocks, the ETFs we're covering. And of course, we take, these are the non-leverage, and we bounce it into the leverage, but we take our signals off the non-leverage of the index themselves, Tesla, NVDA, Netflix, and a couple of our floaters, YYCRUS and Kiwi are our latest just additions to that. And what this does, and this is a very nice feature for our premium members, because basically they say, okay, we put this one out on 9/13. Did we have a setup or a signal at that point? The answer was no. However, one had already fired off, but in the comments I said look for support off the 8-day EMA, this is the 13th, for NVDA. Well, sure enough, the very next day, NVDA, and what we do this for is so that we do send out regular alerts, text alerts and email alerts, but just in case we miss one, or our members can go ahead and position themselves to take advantage of trades. And so here's the 12th, here's the 13th, the 14th. We get a pullback down into the 8-day moving average, as that was our anticipated point, and a trigger off of that. If somebody would have jumped in on that trade at 168, but it made a nice little, about a 13% move over the next 2 days. And so that's why we put out that table. And so far, we've gotten really great comments on the table. Let's take a look at the, okay, we talked about the spider. We talked about that. A couple of things, other things that we're looking at. Watch here on IBB, which is the biotechs. Guys, we're getting a nice little, this support here at the 330 is holding. And so we'll see if we can work off the oversold and get a rebound. If I trade that, I'm going to be trading the LABU. Again, it's getting support about the 75 level, and it's getting resistance up here at about the 80 level. So I'm watching that one. We talked a little bit about gold. Oil. Oil has broken out from its longer-term downtrend on a weekly basis. Still needs to jump up here above the 200-day moving average. It's jumped above the 100-day moving average. So it looks like, a series of higher lows, higher highs. It comes back to a support level, and then we just need to break out of that over the 1743, and the uptrend is back in effect. And then I'm going to go over really quickly the Kiwi. Again, Kiwi, we get a strong, good signal off of the this is the weekly chart. TSI, we get a tick up, and now we're getting potentially, a build up down in here. We've got we'll see if we consolidate here between the 16 and the 18 level. And if this pulls on back down to the 16 level, I'll be looking for positive divergence here on the TSI, which is a pretty good indication that, hey, we're getting it could be a high probability trade. The other one we're looking at on that is F5. F5 looks really, really, again, it is also kind of building a consolidation pattern. We have a little bit of a tick up here from a high, and it's down here, in an area where it historically bounces from. So I'm looking, we've got support here at 113.91. I can draw, I don't want to draw that trend line. I want to draw, just keep your eye on this. We do have a trend line that's coming down across here. There we go. And so if we take a trade here at the 113 level and it gets up to that trend line and slows down, and is taken up and hit this area, that would be a place for taking profits. If we break above it, then we can look at adding to. Okay, what are the other ones that we're looking at? Yeah, and so, yeah, Andrew, I think the catfish specials for today are looking pretty good. I like, CIEN. I mean, I remember trading CIEN, Sienna back in, 1990, I think 1999, because it was a real hot chip stock way back then. But, look, it's got some really good positive notes going on with it. Plus, it trades nice volume. So I'm watching that one. I covered 5. MXL. Again, it is below the 50, and so it may basically break back down here, but it is working on a consolidation. And so, something to keep your mind on. If we did get a breakout here and it moved all the way, it's a 37% move. And so being aware of those, I think is very positive. And the last one, last but not least, JCOM. Again, similar type situation. TSI on the longer term chart is turning around from historical lows. And then Eric asked a question on IBB. Is it rolling over? IBB. So the answer to your question, Eric, is yes, it appears to be so, but this is one of those but situations where it is holding that 330 level. And so oftentimes if this just drives sideways, this is something to keep in mind. If this price action on IBB just drives sideways like this and maintains that 330 level, what'll happen is your overbought condition on your TSI and some of the other things will continue to fall, and they may fall all the way down here to the 0 line and then get a rebound, so that we won't, because this is a stronger entity, and it is also in a really nice, little uptrend going on right there. And again, it might just drive either sideways and then kick up again, or just drop a little bit down into the moving averages. So that's where I'm not gonna get short this, because it did just make a new high, and this is one of those where we're just gonna we can either play the pullbacks into the 820 50-day moving average, or get ready for the bounce higher there. Does that make sense? So, okay, my friends, that basically, sorry I went a little bit longer than I intended to, went for about 20 minutes today, but I hope that that gives you some good trading ideas going into the rest of the week. So once I get this posted, if you are if you like this information, please give us a thumbs up when you're watching it on the YouTube channel, or if it's posted on the Active Trend Trading website. And also let your friends know. This is all free stuff. I mean, basically, I'm giving you a really good analysis of what's going on in the market, giving some potential candidates. Now, of course, the premium members will get the, the refined stuff, which basically covers our text alerts and that type of thing for trading simultaneously along with, parallel to the things that I'm trading. So anyway, have a great week, everybody, and God bless. We'll see you Friday.